Hi, Steve Bergen here, and I'm going to try to show you at a intermediate level all the different ways we can make text, graphics, numbers, and dates be what I call cosmetically or stylistically different. There will be no formulas in this particular lesson. We'll do that somewhere else. So first of all, if I take my name and I put it over here in the middle, I can go up to the border between I and J, and yes, I can do the beginner thing of move between I and J, but I can also double click and then it automatically becomes the width that it needs. Make sure that's in your repertoire, double clicking on the border to be the width needed for that column. If I click on the cell, I can change the text color, but more importantly, I can change the background color, and making the background color of that cell be different is something useful. I'm going to add, let me see what we have here, background colors within a cell, right? I will check that off. Okay, so column width, I will check that off. We can turn text, so if I click on Steve Bergen in yellow, I have many ways to do this. One is I'm going under the format menu to format cells, and I'm choosing alignment, and I'm pulling or pushing that little button there, and now I'm rotating the text to be tilted at an angle. Okay, I'll do it again. I'll grab rotated text. I'll put it here. I will double click to make that column be a certain width. I will highlight that cell. I will go up to format. It may be different on your different machine, Mac and PC, different versions of Excel, but they all have an align text feature. Okay, and I will this time turn it to be at an angle down, and now it's rotated, and now the double click turns it into looking like that. All right, so that's it for rotated text. We will highlight that. Row height, notice that row 8 is this width. Okay, if you pull or push right on the border between 4 and 5, you can make something be taller or shorter in terms of the row height. Sometimes you want to take advantage of that. Okay, let's talk about text that's fairly long. Excel focus area is a sentence, a lot of text. It's not really a sentence, but it's a lot of text, and we might want that wrapped somehow. So I'm going to make column A be wider, and now I'm going to click on A2, and I'm going to format cells, and I'm going to choose wrap. By wrapping that bunch of text in that one cell, it will automatically make the row deeper, and that row now is going to be almost an inch tall compared to where it was right over there. Again, that was format cells or the equivalent on your machine and choosing wrap text. Now you know that you can make text in a cell like Steve Bergen here, and I'll make that orange just so you can talk about it. I can align it left, center, or right in that one cell that it's in. Left, center, and right. I call that horizontal alignment. There are other icons for vertical alignment. So if I make that row deeper, and now Steve Bergen is buried in the bottom right, now it's buried in the middle, but it's only buried in the middle horizontally. Now if I come over here, this means align vertically up and down, and that can be very useful, and this means the top. So top, middle, bottom, and these are vertical alignments. When you have text wrapped in a cell, the way this little paragraph is wrapped in A2, right over here, it becomes even more applicable. Center it, and then make it be aligned vertical, and now it stands out more to the reader. And as you change the row height, it always adjusts to be that way. Now, if you don't want it wrapped anymore, I'm going to come here and go Format Cells or the equivalent and unwrap it. Sometimes you have data and you don't want it to be wrapped in one cell, you want it to be wrapped in a bunch of cells. So let me highlight that and put that, and it's, let's say I just want this to be in B3 through F3 from a cosmetic point of view. I'll highlight B3 to F3, and then I will go Format Cells, and I will be choosing Wrap, yes, but I'll also be choosing Merge. Wrap would make it be in just the one cell. We've seen that already. Merge makes it be in the cell that you were in. So if I click OK, do you see how it's now in this cell right here, which is really B3 through F3. And I achieved that by choosing Merge. Remember, you can pause this video any time you want and try things out. You don't have to watch it from start to finish. I will undo that so you can see it one more time. Now I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to put it in C1. But I decide that I want it to just span from C1 to E1. So I highlight C1 to E1 and I find my friend Merge. And now it's merged in C1 to E1, but this time it didn't automatically make it wrap. It made it wrap, but it didn't make it visible. So I'm going to grab this. Oh, maybe what I did do is I forgot to put the wrap. Yep, I forgot to put wrap, and there it is. Now it's wrapped in that section from C1 to E1. Okay, I'm going to choose undo a bunch of times so we can finish this up and get to some other things and also keep checking off what we've covered. Okay, this is taking up too much row height. Let me shrink that a little bit. Okay, so we've talked about aligning horizontally. We've talked about aligning vertically. We've talked about wrapping text. We've talked about that. We haven't talked about number formats. I'll get rid of that because I have it twice. And I'm going to get rid of that. Okay, so we want to talk next about number formats, and then we'll talk about date formats, and then we'll talk about using a graphic. Okay, so let me just put in a bunch of numbers in here, 3.1, 3.14, 3.14159. When you highlight numbers, and dates actually are numbers, when you highlight numbers, you can change them immediately to a percent, undo. You can get a larger number, 31421. You can change them to have commas if that's appropriate. You can have less decimals or more decimals, and you can even have different symbols for dollar signs in different countries. Now, this is all under the category of accounting numbers, but you can also do it with numbers, right? So you can do this, you can have commas or not, and the complete set of things you can do here can be found under Format, Cells, Number, and now here are all your category types, your decimal places, and your number symbols. We want to pay attention to custom because that's going to be useful, especially with dates. So you can pretty much make your numbers look any way you want to. You have lots of flexibility in how you can cosmetically make your data. Now, dates behave the same way, right? Let me make column F wide, and I'm going to type in 1/1/2015 and observe that it jumps to the right. Let's see if you're smarter than me and you can figure out why this time it doesn't jump to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got it? Because I didn't type a 0. I typed an O. I typed 2015. And if it doesn't recognize it as a legitimate date, it doesn't flush it to the right, and then you can't really do numerical things with it. So let us put in a bunch of dates. There's an important one for me. And with a bunch of dates, let's talk about how you can dress it up. So if you highlight a bunch of dates, and you either go to your choices, I don't see the choices under date, so I'm going to go Format, Cells, and Date. Now you have different date types that they have pre-programmed for you. So if you wanted to say this standard format, like March 14th, 2001, it will do so for you. Format, Cells, all your date choices. Remember though, it only does it if they're legitimate dates, which you know because it jumped to the right. What I like to show people is the fact that if you go to Format, Cells, and Custom, you can make whatever format you want. So I might decide that I want to have month and then an asterisk and then D for date and asterisk and Y for year. And up here where I'm moving the arrow, it's showing you the sample 1/1/15. Well, it turns out M, D, and Y means just the numbers. If you go MM, DD, and YY, it changes it to be O1. If you go MMM, DDD, YYYY, you get the 2015. You even get it with 3 Ys. And if you put in 4 M's and put in 4 D's, you get the full word spelled out. And you can do it more than once. So I can come here and I can go D and I can go comma. And now I've got a custom style setting for my dates. And those pound signs, you know, I'm sure you do, that the width is not big enough. And now you have the dates looking like that. So if you haven't tried that yet, I'll undo. You highlight the dates. You go to wherever on your particular machine you can format cells. You don't choose date because you won't find it there. You choose custom. And now you play with M, D, and Y with any other symbols you want, right? Any other symbols you want. So I can say Y, 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 Y. I can say the DD of MM, M. And it says 2015, the asterisk, some confusion there. I'll leave it go at that. Okay, so I'm going to put yellow on date formats. We've been through that. We've been through number formats. I wanted to tell you in text that I could take a word like this, and I think I neglected saying I can go to format, cells, and alignment, and I could choose this box for text, and then it puts it vertically up and down as a quick way to do that if you want. Okay, what remains on my list is using a graphic. So I'm going to go on the web, and on a Summer Core page I've got this graphic, and I will right mouse click. So you know what that means if you're a PC user. Hold down the right mouse button, you get this menu. If you're a Mac user, what I mean by that is hold down Control, CTRL, or spelled out Control, and then you click and you get this. And I also call that right mouse click. And I'm going to copy the image, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to paste it. And Excel doesn't work wonderfully. There's not a huge number of features. I can resize it by any of the 8 corners. Count them: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And each one does something, which includes distorting it. Okay, so it's usually best to grab from the corner. I'll undo and grab from the corner. You make it small, and you don't have too many features. There is a format picture feature that gives you some ability to do some fancy things. There is a crop feature, right? And you can actually crop your picture. Let me do that a different way. There's a crop picture right over here. And then you see you have those cropping rectangles, not rectangles, half of rectangles, and those cropping marks, and you can actually bring them in. And then after you do that, you press crop again, and now you've got that, and you can move that along. All right? So I would like to think that you can do all these things now. It's all about practice, practice, practice. This is Steve Bergen signing off, right? And this is just an intro lesson on bringing us up to speed on making your text, graphics, numbers, and dates look pretty, cosmetically, stylistically different. Okay, Steve Bergen signing off.